You know what I like in games? Trophies, achievements, whatever you want to call them. I've always liked them. Dating back to the PS2 era with Star Ocean till the end of time. Do you remember that game? Star Ocean 3 was unique in that it had 300 battle trophies that were stored on a completely separate save file, so you could accumulate trophies across multiple runs of the game. In fact, it was necessary to do this to collect them all. Collecting these trophies would net you neat rewards, such as new outfits, a music test, more difficulties, etc. Simply by adding a trophy system to this PS2 game, they extended the life of the game. This was essentially the start of the achievement system, predating Microsoft's system by a year. Now, I never owned an Xbox, and thus never had access to Microsoft's achievement system, but I still thought it was a neat idea. With Microsoft, your achievements increase your overall gamer score, which in the end is a rather arbitrary number, but gives you something to brag about with your friends if that's your shtick. Simply by adding a level of competition to just about any sort of game. Fast forward to 2007 and enter the PlayStation 3 in a little game called Super Stardust HD. This game is essentially a combination of Asteroids and Robotron 2084. It's a twin-stick survival space shooter, but most importantly to me at the time, it was the very first game on the PlayStation Network that had trophies. I purchased it literally for that reason alone. While the game didn't debut with trophies, it was later patched in 2008 to receive them, and thus on July 10th, 2008, I received my first ever trophy, setting me down a path of choosing to play multi-console releases, specifically on Sony. Since those days, we have had 3 Nintendo consoles, the Wii, the Wii U, and of course most recently, the Switch, none of which have had any sort of support for trophies. While we have had achievements built into some games, such as Mega Man 9, there hasn't ever been a Nintendo Network achievement system. Why is that? The most recent interview I could find regarding them dates all the way back to 2011, when Bill Trinen, the head of marketing for Nintendo, spoke to Kotaku. In the interview, he's quoted as saying that Nintendo is not opposed to achievements, but then also explained why the publisher hasn't used them in their games. When they create their games, Nintendo's designers don't tell you how to play their games in order to achieve some kind of mythical reward. Basically, the way the games are designed is they're designed for you to explore the game yourself and have this sense of discovery. To that end, I think that when you look specifically at games from EAD and a lot of other games that Nintendo has developed as well, there are things you can do in the game that will result in some sort of reward or unexpected surprise. In my mind, that really encourages the sense of exploration rather than the sense of, if I do that, I'm going to get some sort of artificial point or score that's going to make me feel better that I got this. And that, to me, is, I think, more compelling. You see, the TLDR version of that is that, according to Nintendo, simply by playing the game, that in itself is the achievement. And there isn't anything necessarily wrong with that. There is no real right or wrong answer here. It just comes down to a matter of preference. But to that, I'm of the mindset that it's honestly time for Nintendo to just go ahead and add them in. We all know that Nintendo has been slow to adapting features that other competitors have had for years. It's nothing new, and in fact, according to Nintendo, they don't even see the other companies as competitors. They're just staying in their own lane, which to a degree is admirable, but unfortunately also means that they are limiting features the same game would have on another console, purely because someone on a corporate level doesn't see the appeal. And that's just a shame. Take me for example. I love my Switch. I also love my PS4. I do enjoy trophies, and while I'm not an absolute completionist, it's nice to have a little bit of extra to keep the life of the game going. I don't even look at the trophy list until I've finished the game completely, and then, if I do want to continue playing, I'll start working my way through it, and that feels nice. Now, when a game comes out on the Switch and PS4, I tend to gravitate towards PS4 purely because it has this feature, and I highly doubt I'm the only person who does this. That means that purely because Nintendo has chosen to omit an achievement system with their online functionality, they're losing out on revenue to their competitors. Nintendo already has the quote Nintendo tax, which typically means games are about $10 more expensive on the Switch than on competing consoles, due in large part to the proprietary cartridges' manufacturing costs. But with that, I'm essentially getting one less feature that the developers put in. My view of trophies has always been that of viewing them as simply an extra feature that isn't doing any harm by simply existing. If you don't like them, you don't have to bother hunting for them. But for those who do, it's a nice addition to have. No harm, no foul. I just wish Nintendo shared my views. They tend to add a little twist to features that everyone else already has. And if they were to do anything with trophies, maybe linking it to My Nintendo to give you coins or something could be a neat addition. But even if trophy support was added in the most bare bones way, something allowing us to track an arbitrary number, I'd still be satisfied. So that being said, how do you feel about trophies? Would you like to see the Switch finally join the achievement bandwagon? Or do you feel that it would somehow sully the experience of the games you play on that console? I'd really like to see what developers think about this as well, but that'll have to be a topic for another time. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys found this at least a little interesting, and I will catch you next time. If you'd like to check me out elsewhere, I am a partner on Twitch, so you can find me streaming on there occasionally. I'm also on Twitter and various other social medias. Mainly Twitter. Just Twitter. Don't go to other social medias.
Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?